Hey, welcome back to the 5-Minute Youth Ministry Coach, here to help make you into the world's greatest small group leader, or at least a better leader than you were last week. Today, we're going to talk about following up after group. This is episode 18 overall and episode 8 in our Successful Small Groups series. Discipleship doesn't end when small group circle breaks up. Some of your most powerful ministry moments are actually not going to happen in group. They're going to be what you do when group's over. When you follow up with a student this week, you send a strong message that you were heard, meaning that they were heard, you were seen, and you matter. So let's talk about how to extend discipleship after small group is over, how small actions can lead to deep spiritual impact. And what I want to encourage you on is this follow-up is really not all that time-consuming. It just takes some intentionality and making it a regular part of your rhythm. So just a few points to walk through. Number one, group time is the start, not the finish. Think of your small group time like planting seeds. The real growth often happens between meetings when those seeds are watered with care, with prayer, and with intentional follow-up. If all of your investment happens in the group circle, you're missing the best part, which is the relationship part. I know many times when you're in small group, it's kind of like you're herding cats, or you're just trying to manage either pulling out stuff or manage staying on track, or just trying to referee in some sense. And so I've been in a case where it really doesn't feel like I'm in relationship during that time. But if you pay attention and if you follow up, that's where the real relational glue starts to happen. So in order to follow up, the second major point you need to understand is you're going to have to track what happens in small group to give you a chance to follow up outside. You can't follow up what you can't remember, and we are all bombarded with so much information. It's impossible to remember everything that was said, even really important things. And I've had it happen where somebody shares a major life event or a major prayer request, and I just straight forget. Not because I don't care, just because I've just got so many things in my head, I can't keep track of it all. So what I want to encourage you to do, use your notes app on your phone, or bring a little journal or just a small little notebook to jot down things like prayer requests, major life events. And remember, for a student, a major life event could be a game, a performance. It could be a tough day that's happening. It could be something that's happening with their parents or siblings. You want to write down significant spiritual questions or insights. If somebody says something important, jot it down. If they share a family or a personal struggle that they have, and wins, places that you saw God working. This is a quick little habit to do, and if you pray specifically, follow up intentionally, and lead relationally, you're going to see a lot of work. Just a real thought with that, with this next one, follow up on prayer and conversations. When I was in college, I had a Bible professor who would begin every class with prayer request time. And he was an Old Testament backgrounds professor and a biblical archaeology professor. We had about 60 students in the room, and I don't know how he did it, but he would take prayer requests. Then he wouldn't even write them down. This guy was like a photographic memory. But a week later, when we were back in class, he would ask us specifically about the things that we prayed for. And that professor meant more to me than just about any professor that I had in Bible college. Not just because he prayed, but because he remembered to ask afterwards. And so we want to follow up on prayer and conversations. Nothing shows students you care like remembering what they said. So here's some just different ways you can do it. You could send a quick text midweek to say, hey, I was praying for you today. How did that test go? Or how did your game go? Or did you have that conversation that you needed to? Bring it back up the next week when you get back together. Hey, you mentioned your grandma was sick. Any update on her? And you could keep a group prayer list and use that to close the loop. So again, this is why your notes and your notebooks, you're not going to remember if you don't track it. So this tells your students you're not just there to talk, you care enough to remember. And then finally, sometimes small group follow-up should actually go to the parents. And this isn't just if something concerning happens. Now, hopefully you realize, like, if they share something concerning or alarming, you really do need to grab parents. You need to get parental involvement. But don't wait until something wrong happens to reach out. Parents need to know the good stuff too. So hey man, your son shared an incredible insight last night, or your daughter really encouraged another student in a thoughtful way. Or, hey, I've seen so much growth in how your child shows up and shares in group. They're a completely different person than they were even just a few months ago. These kinds of messages are gold to moms and dads. Parents don't always see what's happening spiritually, but your perspective can affirm and strengthen that partnership between home and church. I would encourage you to use a variety of follow-up methods. You want to text them sometimes, simple check-ins or encouragements, handwritten notes. These can be memorable and meaningful, and I've had students keep notes for years. A phone call, especially helpful or serious topics, sometimes they need to not be done during text. You need a phone call. Make sure, again, you have established the level of appropriateness that parents are comfortable with you interacting with their kids. And then that personal time, coffee time, meal time, or some kind of safe public interaction where you get that time with them can be huge. Don't overthink it though, just reach out in the way that fits the moment. Follow-up transforms your group from a weekly program to a spiritual family. It tells students what happens in the group matters and that you matter. This week, I want you to take one intentional step of follow-up. Text a student, jot down a prayer request, brag on a teen to their mom or dad, show up at a game, because when a student sees that you care, and that your care continues beyond the circle, their walls come down and discipleship really takes root. I'm Jay Holland. This has been your 5-Minute Youth Ministry Coach. Remember, in addition to Apple Podcasts and Spotify, all of these are on YouTube, as well as youthministry.coach, www.youthministry.coach, where you'll find them in blog form as well if you would like to read them. Share it with somebody if you think it's important and it's helpful to you. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon.